So how's the holiday treating you so far? And hopefully you're enjoying our show. It's the AM show. We're on till 9 a.m. And we're on to a very important conversation. It's one that really, I mean, when you get your finances right, you know that a lot of the other things will be in place. Here's what Lydia Swart said. You must gain control over your money, or the lack of it will forever control you. We don't want the lack of it to control you in this year 2018, and that's why we're starting the very first day of this year. We want to have our money moment. We're talking planning your money, and we've got the exact person who can make this conversation really fruitful in the studio. But the man that I've been referring to as a ghost, well, he transformed himself to Nicholas. He's on stage later this evening at the National Theatre. So Nicholas, as in the teenage Nicholas, yeah. And Auntie Funke, who is not on stage tonight, yeah, but she's on stage here. And our guest, Mr. Frank Kwashe, is director at Daffin Finance. It's always good to have you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for your support in 2017, and it's good that you're beginning the year with us.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay. All right. So we want to talk about why it is absolutely important to have that money conversation on day one in the year 2018. Why is this so important?
Well, I begin by saying that if you don't talk about certain things, it will come back to come and haunt you. And one of the things that people avoid talking about are the things that normally create problems. If you look at it from not only money point of view, but other things that people talk about, like marriage, and when we talk in the confines of marriage, the issue that comes up is sex. People don't want to talk about it. But these two items, and then communication, I always say that these three items, if you don't start having conversations about them, you will never get a handle over them, and they will come back to come and bite you when you least expect. So I think that money should always be something that we should have frank conversation about it. And once you're talking about it, you're gathering ideas or you're gathering information as to how to manage it. Okay. And I come to one conclusion always, that the things that we don't want to have conversations about are the things that we don't gain knowledge about, because we think that I know so much about it, or what I know is enough. No, it's never enough. Have the conversation. For all you know, what you have in your head, it's outdated, and it needs to be checked out and new ideas taken up.
So Ken, any challenges particularly with your money last year?
You see, this is the thing. We all start out with great plans, like New Year resolutions. We start out, you know, new year, new me, and we have great ideas and everything. But it gets to the middle, not even the middle of the year, sometimes before the end of the first quarter, and you're like, Charlie, you know, you're like, Charlie. And I think I can identify a lot with what he said, because truth is, a lot of people don't really like talking about money, especially when it comes to their money, you know, because they think that, you know, it's private, you know, and it's like that. We all have that great idea, but before you realize, the money is gone. Yeah. Like, where did it go? Truth is, if you sit down and you actually take a pen and paper and you want to calculate every little thing you bought, you actually find out where it has gone to, and that has been a major thing, you know, about me for a very long time, because I'm like, Charlie, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do this, I want to do that. But something comes up, you spend maybe 2 CDs here, 5 CDs there, you know, 2 CDs here, 5 CDs there, you buy this, you buy that fancy thing, you know. And then before you realize, you're like, hold on, the money is gone. You're like, where did everything go? But it's in bits and pieces, you know. I have an auntie who will tell you that little drops of water make a big mountain, you know. So those little things contribute, and I think that it's being a major challenge.
Okay, Auntie Funke, what would you want to see changed? And I'm trying to just get your thoughts.
You're not Auntie Funke as a banker?
Yes.
Okay.
Retired banker. I worked before. These people, they do not know me. I've worked in bank for some years, and now I'm no longer a banker. But what would I like to see change in my own personal finances? I want to see the money grow. That's what I want. The money should grow. First and foremost, I realized that last year, even though I was making money, I decided that, you know, I would put a certain percentage down. At least 30% of the money that I was making, I'll put it somewhere. Savings, investments, all of that. So that one, it is set. Nobody is touching that one. But the rest of the money, where does it go to? Because the 70% that I have, some of it should be left so that I can go and join the savings. You understand? This is enjoyment. Sweet things for my mouth. The ice cream, you know, those nice things, luxury items. You see somebody wearing nice shoe and you want to buy it, so you go and buy it. You understand? And shoes now are expensive. Men's shoes, how much is it? 300, 500.
Okay.
The women's shoes equally the same. Very, very expensive, you know. So I'm hoping that this year, you know, I will be able to save a lot more.
Okay.
I mean, there are a lot of financial institutions out there, you know, fixed deposits and all of those things. We are looking at the interest rates and we are trying to see which one should we go for, which of the institutions. Hopefully, I will come and try you as well.
Auntie Funke, the master planner.
Ah, thank you.
Okay, so Mr. Pache, let's start with the self.
Yeah.
How do I plan my finances this year? Where would you say I should begin from?
I always say when we are talking about finances, we look at two aspects: your income, the inflow, and your expenditure. But it all comes down to, like our Nicholas said, you need to write it down. Because anything that cannot be written down cannot be managed. It's basic. And I always say that companies that have been around for over 100 years, when you look at the bottom line, they've got policies, they've got budgets, they've got plans, 3 years, 5 years. It all comes down to writing it down. And you start by, last year, at least you have an idea. How much did I earn? You have an idea that this is the money that I earned. How much was my spending? And broadly, I always say that we spend 60% of our money on, I'll say, our living, like food, rent, and other things. So you can then have an idea of breaking them down. And once you have the history, then you can go into the future to guide you. Because if you don't know how much you earned last year, which I know everybody knows, but there might be some monies coming. But when it comes to expenditure, then people begin to say, oh, I can't put a handle on how much or what I spent. Yeah. But I believe that as we do that, getting the history first, once we are able to account for what happened last year, then we can go into the future. Then we can make the adjustments to say that this year I don't think I need this one. This year I don't think I will be able to afford this. This year maybe new things might be coming up, which last year were not there, but this year I need to maybe bring them on board. Then you can, have a meaningful conversation from there. So that is what I want to say.
Is there a certain percentage that you must, by all means, save?
I would say yes and I'll say no. The reason why I say yes and I'll say no is it all comes down to how much do you have in the kitty. If you look at it, some people don't earn enough through no fault of theirs. Ends cannot meet. So you can put percentages on those. But if I'm looking at the average person, I believe strongly that if you don't do anything at all, 10% minimum of your monthly salary, you should be able to set it aside for a rainy day, what I call an emergency fund. Putting it aside. The whole year we have 365 days ahead of us. There are commitments that we cannot run away from. There might be new ones that might be coming in. And there might be those ones that we've never planned or we never thought it's ever going to happen. But then we will need cash to meet those ones. So a minimum threshold of 10%, I think is reasonable.
Okay. Yeah. Anything else on the personal side that you want to clarify?
I think that you made a point in saying that you have to know your history. But there's a point that a lot of people actually cannot tell, because they can tell you how much they are paid. Of course, that's a giving. They can tell you how much they are paid at the end of the month. But as to what they really use the money for, it's sometimes interesting that they really cannot tell. But so then it means that if there's no record of what you use the money for, how then do you analyze your past action in order to know your future?
As we're having the conversation, you rightly pointed out, some might say that I don't have the history.
Yeah.
But you can have a fair idea. Let's take a week. I was having a discussion off studio with Mama V to say that some weekends I'm going home, I'm carrying so much cash. I realize that I don't need all this amount of money. All I need money is for me for gas. And gas, I know that I don't buy maybe more than X amount of gas. I'm not going to do anything more. So I just walk into the bank and drop the money there, so that I know that the cash is not on me. But if the cash is on you, all kinds of ideas will be flowing through your head.
It's true, right?
I have to go here, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to call this guy. Where can we hang around? But you always realize that if you don't have the cash, you're still able to live. You don't die.
Yeah, it's true.
So the history doesn't have to be like 12 months. It could just be like a month. Last month, December, I know people will say, oh, December, a lot of things did happen and other things. Don't use December. Let's go to November. And it doesn't have to be exact. When we are doing budgeting and forecasting, you don't have to get it exactly right. It's just a guideline. But then the other side of it is that you have to get milestones to check. Like at the end of the month, you have to sit back. Or you can even do it daily. I tell people that when I get home every day, after putting my bags down, I have a seat that I sit in and I review the day and say, what did I do right?
Do you write down what you spend money doing every day?
And not every day, but in a week, at least I have an idea of it. And I always tell people that in the age of technology now, your best notepad, if you have a smartphone, you just put them there.
I even have apps for this thing.
And you list all of them. And you find out that all the things that you have listed, indeed, all of them are not critical, or it's like
necessities, like, you know.
That's it. Some of them you can cross out. Some of them it's like you don't really need them.
Indeed.
Other than that, if you don't do the writing, it becomes difficult to do the assessment and the evaluation. And once you do it over time, you begin to see that, oh, it's not that of a rocket science. It's like it's something that you can do. You might not be able to get the numbers right, but you have an idea how much or where the money is actually going to.
Okay. Yeah. So, you know, that's for the individual, but there are some people that obviously they are not single. They come as a family. What's the plan for the family?
I think as I began this morning, couples should talk about money. It's not, I know that when it comes to money, people will want to say that some, I don't want to be gender biased to be cited for that, but some people will say this is our money and this is my money. So you have to have...
Isn't there anything like that? Isn't there my money and our money?
Well, that's what I said. I don't want to be gender biased, but I know that some people will get fixated on our money, and my money is like we have to use it to do other things. But the conversation should start to say that, okay, as a family, how much is coming in? How much do we want to spend for the year? Mind you, when it comes to couples, there are other dependents. If you have children, some might be going to university, some might not is free SHS, but you might have to spend some other things. So that might come in maybe in the year coming. So how is the planning going to, kick in from the beginning of the year? Because October will eventually come and you will have to maybe meet those commitments. Those who might be dating and other things, okay, this year we want to maybe marry. When are we going to get all the things together? Or when do we go to the altar to do those who want to go to the altar? So it's like, it must be joint conversation. It's not, it shouldn't be like you are holding back. I mean, when it comes to money, lay everything on board.
Including exactly how much you earn?
Well, I worked in an environment where, I don't want to go there, but the ladies, when they earn their bonus, they keep the bonus letter in their drawers. And I asked that, why are you not going to tell your husband that this is the amount of money that we say, no. This money is not something for discussion.
It's not for discussion.
Wait,
So it's like, it's my money, but then we have to know. But I think that at least even if you will not do full disclosure, there must be some disclosure.
yeah.
So that people will get to know that this is what has come in and we can all plan.
Auntie Funke, you're working in a bank.
Auntie
You
Funke,
can relate.
She agrees with the bonus.
Bonus is bonus. It is not for us, it is for me.
Isn't it?
Whatever I want to do with it, it is bonus. So it's not on the record. When you go and work and they give you something extra, extra is extra. You understand? So I will not, if I can choose not to tell you, it's not part of it. But the one that you know is constant, every month I get X amount, that one is fine. I don't know how to tell you everything.
Okay.
If I chose to surprise you with a car one day with the bonus money, I decided to.
That's a good point.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You can't follow that one.
So you can't rule that
That's
out.
convincing.
Some surprises might have to come in.
You see?
But the other side which I find interesting is that the ladies will always want to know how much are we carrying in the
Oh,
because that is what I call, that is our money.
Yeah.
Oh, it is our
Because
money.
they will have to know. And I know some guys who also wouldn't want to do full disclosure, but I think that I encourage that. If it's not going to be full disclosure, at least some level of disclosure will have to be there so that it doesn't bring problems like we are looking for money and it's like we have issues and I don't know how much you are earning. You might not be exact to tell your wife that I earn maybe 5,000 a month, but you might say that, oh, I earn within a region of, let's say, 4,000. So that maybe the 1,000 you might decide to do it maybe as a surprise, give her a birthday present or whatever.
That one is not a bonus.
It's a what?
To do that
It
one.
is not honesty in relationship. It is not a bonus. If it is a bonus, it's a different thing. Don't tell her a round quarter. Tell her the exact amount so that she knows how to manage it for you.
You know?
Understand?
Wait,
So
she knows how to manage
really?
it.
Woman is the house manager. She's the account
She's
manager.
operations manager.
So who manages the money?
Well, I beg to differ on that because you know why? I always say that shopping is in the DNA of women. I haven't seen any woman who doesn't like shopping.
Please, I don't like shopping.
Whether she is
right.
So
I mean, I tease my also for my men, and sometimes I ask them that. Do you also like shopping? So why are you asking? And you'll be surprised that when they travel or they get to a new place, the first thing they are asking about is that where can we get all the goods and the things that we can buy and all those things. So when it comes to women being better managers than men, I would say that it varies.
but you also realize that
I
women
think
do
they
love to shop, but they also shop for men a lot.
Yeah.
And in most cases, we are like the last people. We think of ourselves the last. We think about the children. We're thinking about the men.
Maybe
Exactly.
Mama V, you are the exception.
I don't think so.
You see, I always think that when you go to the marketplace, you don't see a lot of men because the men go into the shop or go to the place and pick up what they want or what they need and get out of the place.
Let me tell you something. A lot of the time, the men even waste money. You will enter the shop, you will not bargain. You will just go and buy. You see 10 CDs over there, you buy it. The woman will go to the market, the nooks and crannies, the crevices, and go and bargain to like 5 CDs. She has cut down. She will manage the thing for you. Am I lying?
I agree with that.
Kind of patience for it.
I agree with that one, but I always say that the more sometimes you spend in the marketplace, invites all kinds of
Well, it's true.
challenges. Because sometimes I've heard people say that, oh, I bought it, and they say, do you really need? Oh, it was on sale.
Yeah.
Future, tomorrow, you will not know if you need it.
So the question is, there will always be a sale. So why do you buy it now because of this particular sale?
So
when you don't really need it.
So how do you differentiate being very economic with your resources and being stingy?
Being economic comes down to the plan first.
Okay.
I mean, write them down. Because, I mean, in basic economics, we talk about wants and needs.
And need, yes.
So once you have all the wants, then you can then scrutinize and say, this is needed, that is not needed. So that it's like it comes down to what I call a short list of this is a must do. This I can live without them. So that is where it comes to. And of course, you don't have to be so stingy. When I tell people that the fact that you're planning doesn't mean that you can't be kind to people. But still you budget how much I can give people. For instance, I tell people that this Christmas season, I just said, X amount of money, I know I'm going to give it out to people. Because, of course, people are going to come to you and say, where are my Christmas presents? Where are my Christmas? And you can't say that, oh, I am planning, so forget about it. No, I mean, it doesn't work that way in our culture. You should be able to give some little freebies to people that, I mean, and of course, there might be some people who, for no reason or for no fault of theirs, cannot even afford a meal. You should be able to help them in their Christmas festivities to say that, okay, I'm going to give X amount of money for people who, or I'm going to throw a small party for street kids who will have to eat something. But it's been budgeted for, so that you don't go beyond what you've done. So that's the balance between the economics and being stingy.
What's your advice on joint savings, either joint investments or joint savings?
In some jurisdictions, it does work. But in our African setting, I always say that you can have a joint savings or a joint pool, but I also recommend that have individual accounts.
Okay.
Yes.
The reason why I recommend that is that it is not everything that you can, or every piece of thing that you have to let your spouse know that I'm going to take money from the kitty to do this. There might be some things that you will want to do it because you've come from a different family background and other things. And I know in most cases when people want to help their extended family and other things, it brings other challenges. I've heard stories like people like, okay, this year we bought maybe an iPad for my mom. Your mom maybe, for all you know, is not techie savvy. She doesn't need an iPad. But because we bought an iPad for the other person's mom, you also want an iPad for your mom. It becomes an issue because people will then want to balance the things out. When it comes to money, I always tell people that reveals the real character of people. Money and power. If you give those two to people, you begin to tell who they really are and how they will behave in a normal situation. So the joint account, fine. Then you know that everybody is contributing some amount of money, and it's towards maybe a particular project. Maybe it's towards our children's education. It's towards maybe a new home we want to have. It's towards maybe a travel that we want to do together. So that's like, it's something that the two or the whole family are going to benefit from. But where it becomes like we're putting the money aside and it's going to go to the benefit of only one person, I can assure you in most cases it will bring challenges because the other person will feel that, oh no, I'm being shortchanged here. I'm putting something into the kitty and I'm not getting anything out of it.
So do we still go by in other words, what I want to ask, who typically still pays the school fees and the water bill, the light
where
bill?
I have come from, the gentleman of the house will have to take that responsibility.
It's still a man's responsibility.
Yes, because it's like you are taking care of the family. And if I'm going to quote scripture, there's a scripture in Timothy which says that if you don't take care of your family, you are worse than an infidel.
Wow.
You're worse than an unbeliever. So it's your responsibility. If your wife wants to help you, it's a helping hand. And going back to it again, the woman is helping. You are the head of the family.
But the children are our
children. You are the head. You, the man, you are the head of the family. Everything rises and falls with you. So certain things, it is your responsibility. You have to put money on the table to feed the family. You have to pay for the rent. If you can't do it and the woman is helping, that is a helping hand. But you should strive to be able to what? Take that responsibility on. Because you see, if you don't do that, you lose your authority. He who pays the piper calls the team.
Yeah.
And if you want me to be blunt,
yes, please.
Like I said to all the guys, your wife's money is not your money.
Oh, so you agree then?
Your wife's money is not your money.
Can I get a handshake? Thank you.
You might rant all you want. She can help you. Because you see, I have come to realize that women need some space to do other things with their money. So plan especially for the family upkeep. with little support from that side. The reason why I say that is, if you give her the space and she's a prudent woman, or what we call the virtuous woman, you find out that the day that you will run dry, you might be able to fall on that
Okay.
to save you.
But isn't that too much responsibility for a man to carry? I mean, you're taking care of virtually everything in the home.
There is this kind of adage which says that if you're born a man, you're born with challenges. You have to solve problems. And like I'm alluding to, I have a friend that I always have chat with, and she always tells me that, you know, if you have money as a guy and nobody's spending their money, then
what's the point?
What's the point? Somebody should be spending their money.
So
So some people are there to create the wealth, and some people will be there to spend the money.
Oh, wow.
But at the end of the day,
I'm
the
happy
balance.
it's not the women who are saying this.
The women are
I'm
hearing
just-
this
I'm
on the
just-
1st of January. Guys,
I'm just being honest. I'm just being honest with you. You can rant all you want. You can pray all the prayers that you want. Shopping is part of the DNA of women. They will spend.
Yeah.
You just have to know how you manage that conversation.
Yeah.
To say that, you know, this, I don't think you really need it. It's a want. But the shopping, they will do.
Okay.
And if you start getting aggressive, what will just then be happening is that they'll still be doing the shopping, but they will not be bringing it immediately to the house. Or they'll give you a rap to say that, you know, my friend dashed it to me, or my friend gave it to me.
Sure.
And men will start getting jealous. If a friend, so to speak, is another male who is doing that, then it's like you're losing your what? Your grip. Let's have, I mean, I'll say, above the board conversation. They will spend. But you can help them out to say that this, we don't need it, this, we need it.
Fantastic.
That's my
Okay.
Wonderful.
Previously, you have spoken about
to you.
percentages, you know. Now, the question is, when you take out those percentages, what do? You just take it to the bank, drop it, save it, or you invest it?
There are a lot of avenues. Some, I would say, that will have the difficulty or the inconvenience walking every month to the bank. You can have what I call a money box.
Yeah.
But the discipline will have to come in. If it's a money box, the element of discipline will have to come in, that you drop the money in there. But periodically, what I advise is that you move the money so that the money is a little bit far away. And like the example that I gave you, if I am going to go on a weekend and I have X amount of money and I just walk to a bank nearby, and now some banks, ATMs even accept deposits. So you can easily go and drop it there. And once you do that, you are making it a little bit difficult to just grab the money immediately. But if the money is in your pocket, and that's why I tell people that I have credit cards, but I don't always carry them with me. Because once you have it, you swipe. And because the cash is not coming out,
You don't see the
it gives you the fun that, oh, okay, I bought it, and it's like I'm not seeing the cash, but 21 days time, the bill will show up.
Yeah. Auntie Funke, is there anything you want to ask?
We now have this one, mobile money and all of that. So no matter what you do, you still have money on your you know, on
money
you.
closer to you.
Money. We have these online portals that you just pay for things anyway anyhow. So how do you now manage? You know, with all of, because you want to buy credit, you can just go on like, I have it here.
You know,
I get it.
So it comes down to how much do I need for the period. The excesses that I don't need them. If I have to move them, and I think now some financial institutions are even accepting or are encouraging people to do investments, moving money from the mobile wallet and other things. So once you move it, and once I tell people that move it to an institution. And when the institution tells you that if you break the investment, there are going to be penalties, it is for your own good. Because if you don't have that level of condition or terms, then you can always go in and out and take your money. But if you know that you're going to lose something, then you always make do with what you have. And I tell people that next year or this year, as we are talking, some are going to get pay raises, some are going to get bonuses, some are going to get promotions. I mean, we're talking about salary people.
Yeah.
But the question I put to them is that increment, do you really need it to spend?
Yeah.
You can decide that, okay, if I get that pay raise or I get that promotion or that increment, the extra money that I'm getting, I want to put it away. And you find out that you will still be comfortable with what you are earning last year. And you will not break any bones. So that is where the conversation will have to start to say that I don't really want to spend the extra money that is coming to me.
Yeah. I thought that maybe perhaps we can just spend a bit of time asking people to call us and join in the conversation. So you can give us a call 0302-211-6912, 0302-211-6912. Give us a quick call if you want to get interactive with us. But I also wanted to outdoor the tallest Susu box this year in 2018.
This thing is taller than
yeah.
It's taller
And I want to ask, I think that last year we did involve you, not from the very beginning with our box, but there's nothing, the box is empty. So what's your advice for those of us who want to look at this other direction and see somebody?
Like you rightly pointed out, it was a good initiative even to start with the box.
Yeah.
So I will want to recommend to our viewers that if you don't even have anything, I mean, get the box and start dropping the money in there. You'll be surprised that come the day that you open that box, like the first time that we opened it, it was interesting that, I mean, I'll say gradually you were able to say that, I have X amount of money.
Yes.
And I tell my friends that even if for nothing at all, you might say that I want 120 Ghana cedis maybe come December. Or let's say for September, schools are going to open, I want maybe 100 Ghana cedis. You might not have the 100 Ghana cedis come October, but you can have 10 Ghana cedis every month. And that you can start by putting it aside.
Yeah.
And once there is an objective for the money that you are getting, the commitment level comes in.
Yeah, you know, I have one of that. It's not a store though. That one is smaller and it's a bit well endowed, you know. And I have this policy: you get home and all the coins I have on me, I just put it inside, you know. And I was surprised. I think a couple of years ago, a friend of mine did that. She didn't even start from January. Started from I think March. By the end of the year, she had a little over 400 Ghana cedis.
Yeah.
In coins.
In coins.
You know,
That's
in
very
coins.
significant.
And she just go home and pack all the coins she has and just
I think we got
in.
over 1,000 each. Roland and myself when we started putting money together.
Wow.
Was it just coins or notes?
No, this was hardcore paper.
Yeah,
We made a commitment 20 Ghana cedis every working day on the show.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that I wanted to do 50 cedis, but I realized that 50 cedis sometimes it will be hard.
Maybe wait when multimedia gives you a pay raise this year, then you can stretch it. But start with, I always say that it doesn't have to be so painful when you are trying to save and invest. It should be something that you should be enjoying doing it. And because I tell people that we see nice things and we want to enjoy them, but they are not, free. And you have to put down some commitments to get them there. So I think if you start with the little that you can afford, not breaking any bone, you'll be able to get to your objective. Okay,
let's speak to Gordon. Gordon Dankwa is joining us from Dansuman. Gordon, Happy New Year to you. Thanks for joining us. Let's hear you.
Many happy returns, Amavi. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you.
And good morning to you and your panelists.
Good morning, Gordon. Go ahead, please.
The name of the gentleman from Dow, is it?
Mr. Frank Kwachi.
Okay, Mr. Kwachi. I, to a large extent, agree perfectly with most of his submissions in respect of especially the money aspect of who owns the man's money and who owns the woman's earnings. Certainly, the woman's earnings can never ever be a part of the man's earnings. That's a given. However, and that then brings out this caveat that we need to watch out. you ladies, Mama V,
Yes.
should, and again, it then dovetails into the saying that he who plays piper calls the tune. Correct?
Yes.
And so many a times we are having the men taking the responsibility as they should. I'm not saying all, but many a times you have the men taking up that responsibility as they should. And in the same vein, the women still want the men who are doing this to be rubbing shoulders with them. So you should know your place then.
Yeah.
So if we, because I noticed that all you women are nodding and agreeing. Yes. And we agree to that, yes, perfectly. We agree to that perfectly. It's our responsibility to take care of you. No matter how much you are earning, we are to take care of you. No dispute about that. But in the same vein, be submissive.
Okay.
And note that the man, you can never, this, what do you call it? What a man can do, a woman can do, rub it off and then know your place, your rightful place in the home and play your game as you must be. That will promote, I tell you what, happy family in 2018. Many broken homes are because women are attempting to overstep the shoulders of women, of the men, whereas the man is at the same time being frontal with all the responsibilities.
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree with you. Thank you very much, Gordon. I mean, I'm not into all the feminism, all the whatever. Auntie Funke can disagree with me, whatever.
I've disagreed long time before.
Yeah, Beyonce can disagree with me. But I tell you what, and I agree with Gordon absolutely. If you want to grow a home, somebody must be the head and somebody must follow. So yes. Yeah.
The way I am feeling.
Don't feel. Calm down.
Oh, no. Know your place in the house. What do you mean, know your place in the house? Fine, I can be the neck, but don't tell me go and sit somewhere. Know your place in the house. What are you talking about? We don't understand it like that. Rubbing shoulders. Are we not co-equal? You can be the head, but are we not co-equal? Did you not come and look for me and marry me? You understand me? I understand I have to respect you, but don't come and tell me know your place in the house. I don't agree with it. If I'm gonna start this thing, I don't think we will finish.
So don't start.
I think you need. You
What
have a lot of work.
I don't like it.
You have a lot of work.
I think you have to walk a thin line here. I believe strongly that if a man loves the wife, submission will come easily. Yeah. So it's two sides. The reason why I'm saying that is that God in His own wisdom asks men to love their wives. Because it is a difficult thing sometimes for a man to love the wife. Because that's why you see men hopping around doing other things. And it's also a difficult thing for women to submit, especially when the money issues come in, and more especially when she's even earning more than you are bringing in.
Yeah.
It takes the extra effort. So that's why I'm saying I'm walking a thin line.
Yeah.
Each and every one will have to do his part to get the other person. It's like you've heard women saying that the man doesn't love me because he's doing other things. But then the question I also sometimes ask is that the woman will also say, or the man will also say that my wife is not submissive. So you have these arguments being thrown at each other every now and then. But I believe that it all starts with the communication too. And like this morning we started, there are three things that I always say that makes a relationship work: money, communication, and maybe the S one, which people don't want to talk about.
Let's talk to Jerry. Jerry is joining us in Achimota. We've got just a few minutes to wrap up. So Jerry, good morning. Happy New Year to you.
Thank you, Mama V. Good morning to your panelists and you too.
Good morning. Hello, Jerry.
Hello, I'm hearing from you.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Right. I wanted to share my view on the culture of saving, and that I agree with that culture to save. But then the point is that are you able to tell us exactly what you use the money that you shared with Roland for. Did you have a plan before you opened that box? Because I am of the view that we should rather focus as workers. We should rather focus on how to get government to give us some kind of a good, let me say, regime on maybe how to call it, a housing system. For example, I am now a government worker. Because of NHIS, I don't fear any serious ailment or something. Okay. I am also paying into a fund for cancer treatment for teachers. But my major concern is how to get a building that maybe on my retirement I'll be able to live in.
Sure.
And that is my major concern now. Okay. Everybody is talking about building.
Okay.
Coming to eating and just serving the house, it's not a major problem. So that at the end of the day, the 400 Ghana coins the gentleman was talking about, what did you use it for? You just deal with it. But what is the grand saving structure? For the plan? And that I expect that all of us must work towards. Maybe if it's kind of a home loan scheme and that kind of thing, it will rather be better for workers.
Okay.
But putting coins there, I agree, you put it there. At the end of the day, you spend it for Christmas. Anyway, happy New Year to everyone.
Jerry, thank you very much. And I'll tell you what I use my money for after Charles. Charles is calling from Kumasi. Charles, good morning to you. Happy New Year. Thank you for joining us. Let's hear you.
Yeah, good morning, Mamavi.
Good morning, Charles. Please go ahead.
Okay, Mamavi, I like your discussions, and it's very good. But one thing I've realized is that in life, when you are a man, you carry responsibility, as the man is saying. And for that matter, too, the women are also taking advantage. Because what men can do, women can do and do better. It's true, yeah. But what I've realized is that those of us who carry family, when you're a man and then you see that you have family to take care of, you see that it becomes a huge thing to handle. And when we carry these principles along, that what men can do, women can do better. And then when it comes into this aspect, we say that all the responsibilities are on the man. It comes to conflict, with these things that we are talking about. Sure. I believe that love, when you have a woman that you love, or when you meet somebody that you love, that person will understand you and will be always ready to help you in anything that you want to do. Because this day, man, you think about the family, where we are going to sleep, build a house, take care of the home. You see, and a lot of things, even when the children are sick. And if we have to go into detail, you realize that then what the man is having is even nothing, especially when the person is a teacher.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I
get you. Very, very important what you've said. And I think that it comes back to the fact that, I mean, the relationships that we're all into are different. They are unique. Things work differently for different people. Gordon is back on the line, so we'll speak to Gordon. And this is the last conversation that we'll have on the phone. Gordon, what brought you back?
Mama V, just to my beautiful young lady back there.
Yes.
I think she got me wrong when I talk of women
know your
their place. My dear, I did not mean anything derogatory. I'm simply stating some secret most of you women don't know about men. In fact, it's for absolutely no reason, no bad reason that the good book talks about women submitting to men and then men loving women. Note the order of prescription very well. It says, it didn't say man love your wife. It said woman submit. And then before it goes ahead to say man love, it's for a particular reason. All the men down there, they know a trick to get to the heart of the man. Submission. I tell you, if you do that as a woman to a man, the man's family may think you've taken him to some juju.
Yeah.
Trust me on this. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. She would get to know in the coming months. Wow. Don't worry, I'll open her eyes. She's only seeing one side. I beg no comments.
I forget.
This is where you actually keep it.
She's agreed not to start.
Good temper.
Okay, so was it Jerry? Jerry, I bought, you know, I think it was close to the beginning of the academic year. So I invested mine in the school bags, and I did mention that before. Because the school bags are also very expensive these days.
Indeed.
So the things that the boys took to school, that's what I invested my money in. And this one, I want to use it for Christmas. Christmas is a big deal for children, and they want to get gifts under the tree and things like that. And they believe Santa brought it, you know, like they've got these beliefs, and you want to make it happen. So Christmas may not be a big deal for you, but to me and my children, it's a big deal. And if I can get money in this to here, it will make all the difference in my home. The coming Christmas. The list is out already, so
wow.
The Christmas list is out already. Yeah. Okay, we want to wrap this conversation up. It's been an amazing conversation, but what would you finally say to us?
What I'll finally say to our viewers and our listeners is, let's start early. And if we are not able to even to start this month of January, there is always the second chance to start. And for me, I always say that every day is a new day to start planning. Why do I say that? Because I work in corporate institutions where the financial year is always not the end of December. Some financial year ends September. Some financial year ends. The important thing is getting to start with it. And when you slip somewhere along the line, don't just throw in the towel and say that, oh, I couldn't do it. That's why there is what I call the monitoring period, to say that what did I do wrong that I was not able to maybe meet what I said I was going to do. And then you come back to it.
Okay.
It's what I call the resilience of you getting up, dusting yourself up, and moving on is what is needed in any financial planning.
Okay. Auntie Funke.
Yes. So my shoppers and heavy, spenders, I want to say that if you are going to get an item, whatever it is that you are going to buy, whatever it is you want to spend on, ask yourself first, do I need it? If you think you do not need it, then think about it again. You just write it down somewhere and put it down. When you get extra money, you can go and get it. But if you know that you need it, you can, now play it out and say, okay, I want to get it. But if you do not need it, put it on the side. That's the best way. I would say you can also save up some small money on the side.
Okay.
I think there's a saying that says that look after the pennies and the pounds will take care of themselves. If you bring it to Ghana, look after the pesos and the cedis will take care of themselves. Those, those one CD that, oh, this is one CD, we use it for this, we use it for that. Why don't we try gathering all of this? And I'm sure we will surprise ourselves if we really take note of those small ones. At the end of the year, we'll see how far and how much we'll be able to accumulate over that given period of time.
Okay. And here's what I want to say. I mean, men have spent a lot throughout the Christmas season. Yeah. And I know that women, we have some last minute cash somewhere. It would be nice if you would surprise the family by paying the school fees in January as a woman.
You will live long.
Why don't we take up that challenge?
Yeah.
It'll be good.
My child is good already. I don't have problem.
You are paying school fees.
I don't pay school fees again.
Mr. Farakwachi, thank you so much for your time. We're with you throughout 2018. So yeah. And he's director at DAF and Finance. You can check them out. Stay with us. We've got a boys conversation. Yeah. And we've got Beyonce coming too. Yeah. Beyonce shakes. So if you want to see the shake, you're going to stay with us.
She's my Dora. I'll proud of you.